Hello and welcome to another Cork and Taylor Wine Podcast. We've got everybody's favorite CPA. You like that, don't you?
That's a good one.
We got Shane Soldinger, right?
Dinger.
Oh, come on. I'm
right,
Canadian.
close enough.
That's good in Canada.
That's it, close enough.
So we are here in the Silver Trident. Is this a tasting room, I would take it?
We call it a tasting home.
Tasting home.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me in here.
Thanks for coming.
And we got a lot of glasses and we got some potato chips. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this. So everything is for sale in this place.
Everything except for my dog, Keith Richards.
But you're for sale.
Well, that's, negotiable.
How good is business? Thanks for having me. I'm really honored to be here. And we're going to do this like potato chip wine pairing tasting experience.
Yeah, we call it the potato chip extravaganza.
Where the hell did that come up with?
We had a lot of time on our hands about a year ago. And this idea, the tasting experience, was born by one of our proprietors, Bob Binder. Mm-hmm. At the time, seemed like he was on the last flight out from Miami to get back to here to quarantine up in St. Helena and lockdown. And on the flight, amidst all the drama going around in the world, he was handed a little screw top bottle of wine and a bag of potato chips and found himself smiling for the first time in a long time. And the light bulb went off.
Does he not smile?
He smiles.
Okay.
But, it's pretty
nice
heavy
smile?
Stuff going on. Very, very,
very nice.
Yeah, very charming.
Yes, good. Very nice.
But Bob's also, he's the president and CEO of Oceana Cruises.
Never heard of them.
So the cruise industry definitely
Oh my God.
a lot more dramatic than the wine industry. So
You think?
A lot was on his mind, and he found himself relaxing and smiling for the first time on this flight over with some potato chips and some wine, and had this idea, hey, why don't we create something like that at Silver Trident? And landed, told us about it, and then we got to work.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So 2009, Bob Binder and Walter Yost.
Mm-hmm.
God, I should ask you this before, but you know what? We're real. We're real here. We make mistakes. It's cool. I'm Canadian. We're allowed to make mistakes. So they started this Silver Trident. Why Silver Trident? The name. Why did they do that? Now they both had very successful careers in the one was in the Oceana cruise, and the other one was in the travel. Well, both in the travel business,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
So how did they get to doing Silver Trident?
Well, both Walter and Bob, international travel industry execs, and have been all over the world, and have very passionate about wine and food, and I think ultimately wanted to create a wine that they could be proud of and happy about to put on the table anywhere in the world, and that it would stand out as being an approachable, delicious, quality bottle of wine. And that was probably the inspiration. And they have a small vineyard up in St. Helena, and started growing some Cabernet. And through a friend of a friend, met our winemaker, who's been with us since day one, Carrie Oringer. And they came up with the idea to bottle some estate cab from St. Helena. Nice area code for growing quality Cabernet Sauvignon. And they bottled it up, and that's how it all started. It went from there. Silver Trident, the name, is a little nod to the sea, and the trident being kind of like the symbol of the sea, Neptune and his trident, and silver being the color of the ocean at its most calm, serene, deepest moment. So that's how Bob and Walter came up with the name Silver Trident. And prior to 2015, when we opened the doors here to our tasting home, the only place that you could find Silver Trident wines were on the different Oceana ships. So at the time, there were 5 ships prior to 2015. I think there's 6 now, and launching a 7th, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's exclusively on Oceana cruises.
At one time it was.
Oh, one time.
At one time it was, but once we opened the doors here in 2015, we started selling all of our wines right out here of the tasting home and through our wine club. a little bit of some distribution, but the vast majority of our wines are sold right out of here.
So working here, do you get a discount on Oceania cruises?
I don't know if I could publicly
Oh, sorry.
say that.
Excuse me. My bad. I'm sorry.
I
Okay.
mean, I'm sure
Fledgling podcast host.
we would probably get hooked up with some sort of amenity.
I would think so. That's pretty cool. So you got an interesting story. Chicago born and bred.
Uh-huh.
Blackhawks?
Not much of a
Bulls?
hockey fan.
Oh, no.
Canadian guy. Sorry about that.
Excuse me. Be very nice. They're one of the original 6, the Blackhawks.
It's true.
Cubs or White Sox?
Cubs.
Yeah. So you're a North Sider.
Yeah.
Okay.
My brother and my dad migrated to Sox fans
Really?
after I had moved to California.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
But Bulls fans.
Do you
for
still
sure.
talk to them? I wouldn't. Those are trading
Those
words.
are,
That's like being a Bears fan and all of a sudden, oh, you're going to leave. I'm going to be a Packers fan.
Yeah. Well, I'm so far removed now from Chicago sports that I've been.
You're
in
never
California
far removed.
It's always it's in the blood.
Yeah,
but
it is in
I
the
don't.
blood.
I don't.
How
care,
about them
I don't
Bulls?
care as much as I used to. Bulls.
How about them Bulls?
You know, I grew up. I was 9 years old when Michael Jordan came to town, and we actually had season tickets for both championship runs, both repeats. So, yeah, saw some really fantastic games. Big Bulls fan of old. I don't watch a whole lot of basketball these days.
No, it's not as good as it used to be. So you're a CPA by trade.
Yes. I haven't, I will preface whatever comes next by I haven't practiced in 20 years.
Well, I'm not asking for tax advice right now.
Good.
Which, shoot, I should have brought my work briefcase. I got an income tax. No, I'm just kidding. So the CPA is it's more sexy and more demanding than the wine industry. What made you just like up and leave? I mean, stable job. You're always going to find a job.
Yeah. After finding out that I passed that exam, I was going through my second tax season. It was probably like 30 below in Chicago at the time. Studying for the exam in the middle of tax season. I pretty much knew what I wasn't going to continue doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
Yeah.
And I had some friends and contacts out here in California. I had some friends and contacts out on the East Coast. So those were my initial gut reaction was I'm going to go to either New York or I'm going to go to California. But I made a lot of connections out here in Napa Valley. My parents are still to this day huge wine lovers, and I'd like to say I was weaned on wine. So I had been out here a bunch of times with my parents, and so ultimately I decided to use some of my connections out here.
Nice.
And packed up everything that was important to me at the time in my car, and I drove out west.
Were you married at the time or
no? No, I was
Free
not.
bird. Those were good times, huh? Let's be honest.
They were,
Yeah.
They say youth is wasted on the young. I look back and those were good times.
That's bullshit. Youth is not wasted on the young. So what? So you just upped and left. So what did? I mean, this was what 2000?
2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you do when you came out here? Or did you have a job
I had
lined
a job.
up?
Yeah,
oh, look at you. See, that's practical because you're an accountant.
Yeah.
You have lots. I would just drive, man.
Well, I like the saying "leap and the net will appear," but I
would need a big net. I'm a big boy.
No, I had some connections, and I started working at a winery actually here in Yountville 21 years ago. So it was cool to come back full circle and work for Silver Trident. Again, some 15 years later after I started back in Yountville.
What was the winery called? Cosentino.
Yeah.
Mitch.
Mitch.
I met him once.
Yeah, good golfer. You're into golf, right?
Really?
He's
I
a
love
great
golf.
golfer.
Yeah. Is he really?
Yeah.
Is Cosentino still around?
Cosentino is still around, different ownership.
Yep.
And I'm not sure. Mitch was making a wine called Pure Cru. I'm not sure what he's up to now.
Mm-hmm. And you went from like literally working a harvest to being the GM.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Kind of know what you're doing.
I've been fortunate to be exposed to
I should interview your wife.
She's great. You'd like her.
Oh, I'm sure I would. It's funny because I have the golf podcast, right? The Clubs and Corks. I think I told you that. It's with a good friend of mine who was a better golfer than me. played on the Pro Tour, won the British Open and a couple other tournaments, Ben Curtis. And we went out to dinner with his wife and my wife because we're all friends or whatever. And I said jokingly, we should have the wives on there. That's not going to happen. No. And you have your SOM certification too.
Yeah.
So you went from working at Constantino to working the restaurant circuit.
Yeah. So after my time at Cosentino, I wanted to take some time to figure out what I wanted to do, which took a little bit of time. Got a little introduction into the wine technology side of the business, and then I had some friends that opened a great restaurant here in Napa called the Note Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Great Italian program. And they wanted to start a wine club but had no idea how to do it. And Sir Lucero, Master Som, put together at the time, one of the greatest lists around. And it was very deep on Italian wines. And that was it was an interesting place because it opened in 2010, I think. And I mean, the percentage was probably like 90% Italian, 10% Napa Valley wines, which at first was kind of like an uproar in the local community, like, what are you guys doing? You're not featuring Napa Valley wines. But it really became a place of educating really already educated wine industry people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in a very non-pretentious way, very just really great selections. And so they wanted to showcase that. And I was still trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do after the Cosentino. So I was like, I could help you guys. I'd love to do that.
Right.
So we created a really fun wine club. And through that, Sir kind of took me under his wing and said, hey, if you ever really want to, I think I had taken my intro SOM course or something. And he said, hey, if you're really serious, I'd be happy to show you the ropes. So I took him up on his offer, and which was tough for me because after passing that CPA exam, I told myself I'd never take another exam ever. So here I was, sitting for
never
this
say
exam.
never.
But it was a fun experience. So I got my sommelier certification through doing that as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you go all the way through to master or no?
I didn't. I was, I think, my sense with the Court of Masters, it's, you got to have the time to be able to do
and the
that.
dough too,
and the dough, and it's really suited for a lot of restaurant industry folk, and who have access to a lot of these wines.
Right.
You got a lot of distributors and brokers with deep books and bags, and hey, what do you got? Oh, we've got this. I'm studying for this. Do you have this
Right.
and that and that? And so like, there's a little bit of that going on. So I think it's great for restaurant industry people. For me, I was actually signed up for the advanced, and I was prepping for that. And then I got the opportunity to work for Crocker and Star up in St.
Nice.
Helena, so back on the
That's
supplier
pretty-
side.
yep.
Great wines,
Yep.
and Pam Star's, fantastic
Oh, God,
winemaker,
yeah.
powerhouse, and we've become great friends. And so I jumped at that
Who's
opportunity.
Crocker?
Charlie Crocker.
Now who's that?
Crocker. Charlie is like one of the coolest people walking around on the planet.
Really?
But Crocker is one of like the California founding names up there with like Stanford. And
Okay.
So deep history there.
Okay.
Charlie's got a wonderful estate up in St. Helena.
Nice.
And they make
People
some-
always forget about Crocker and Crocker Star.
Charlie's a pretty under the radar kind of
Yeah.
guy. It's kind of like Yoda in a sense. He's
Nice.
just wise, and
Yeah.
he's just powerful. But
Luke,
he's
use the
like,
force. Yeah.
exactly.
Never heard
So-
that before. Luke, I am your father. Never heard
And,
that before either.
Yeah, so that kind of took me out of that whole restaurant orbit, tasting wines, and I was really focused on helping Crocker and Star grow
Cool.
at that time. So I kind of went in a different direction. And then kids and all that other stuff. And
Never heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got all these wines in front of us. What I really love about this place, you have a wine and potato chip tasting experience. Is this pretty popular with your customers or your tasters or people that come in?
All the above. Yes.
Really?
Since we launched it, it's been a huge hit. People love it.
So who paired all these? Is this your undertaking, or is that?
I was part of the team that put it together. It was myself, Beth Bolin, who is our hospitality relations coordinator and art curator, and has a tremendous palate. And really, she was very instrumental in putting this pairing together. And then also Mallory McElligott, who's our events and membership director. She's
Nice.
great. And so, once we had the big shutdown in mid-March, it was actually on our 5-year anniversary that Governor Newsom announced we would be shutting down. So what started off as, hey, happy 5-year anniversary, was, oh, my, wow.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of time on our hands, March, April, and we, honestly, like, we didn't know what the future was going to hold, but we knew we wanted to come out of whatever that period of time was. We wanted to come out stronger and kind of re-identify ourselves and add some more tools to the toolkit. And we redesigned our website. We came up with this new tasting, which is
Nice.
a home run. It was the three of us, Beth, Mallory, and myself, tasted a lot of potato chips, sipped
Nice.
some wine, sacrificed our bodies.
We're about to. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what's the first one?
So the first wine we're going to have, first pairing is it's our rosé. It's called Apollo's Folly. This is, I would say, more of a Provence-inspired style of a rosé. Sees about 75% neutral stainless, so about 25% French oak. Neutral French oak gives that wine a little texture, but really lovely wine, very versatile wine. And the potato chip that goes along with it is the Zapp's Cajun Crawtator. So it's kind of like a crabfish broil in a chip, is what I like to say about it. We tasted a bunch of chips, and we kept landing on Zapp's out of New Orleans. After we hit the second Zapp's, we're like, oh, we can't go with the third. That's too many Zapp's. And then we kept trying. They're different. And these chips are out of control good. So we just kept going with them. So we've got like 4 out of the 5 chips are Zapp's, but they all work. So our rosé and the Cajun Crawtator pairing to kick things off with. What do you think?
It's pretty good. Now, should you? You can see, due to my large stature, I'm a potato chip aficionado. Should you do the chip first, or drink the wine first, or put the chip in the wine in your mouth? What is the proper etiquette?
We didn't have particular protocol written down, so
I think you need to work on that. Yeah.
But we always do like a sip, taste, sip.
Okay.
Taste.
Sip, taste. What about taste, sip? Taste.
I'm sure there was some of that
sip.
going on too.
Sip.
You have to have some palate cleansers along the way. But we had a bunch of chips out, and it's funny, you'll see when we get 2 pairings down from now, like, you know how it is when you do food and wine pairings. Sometimes something goes that you would never expect, and there's
called marriage. What you're talking about. All right, so that's the first one. Yeah. All right, number 1. That's pretty good rosé. I like that.
Think you. Yeah, really, really great rosé. That's coming out of Sonoma Coast. I think I tend to, the one adjective I use to describe our wines quite a bit is approachable. So all these wines are extremely approachable right out of the gates. They're just really fun, well-balanced, likable wines, and approachable from somebody that's new to wine or experienced collectors. There's everybody's going to find something fun out of these wines. The next wine in the pairing here, this is our Symphony No. 9 Sauvignon Blanc. I love this style of Sauv Blanc. To me, it's uniquely Napa Valley in style. That nice, bright, ripe floral fruit. But still retains a lot of those refreshing, youthful aspects. Okay. Similar production techniques as the rosé in a lot of ways, where it's 75% stainless barrel, 25% neutral French oak. We're using about 30% Sauvignon Blanc Muscat clone out of Carneros.
Nice.
And then the majority, 70% Clone 1 from St. Helena.
Good potato chips. Good wine, too.
This chip is coming from Route 11 out of the great state of Virginia. Sour cream and chive potato chip.
I didn't know Virginia was known for sour cream and chive. Virginia's for lovers. Do you know that?
Really?
Yeah, that's their license plate. Virginia's for lovers.
I didn't know that. Well, I love their potato chips. And this is cool because there's actually like a creaminess to the chip, which matches that creaminess on the palate for the wine with that little bit of oak texture. But that wine's got that nice acidity and brightness that just carry it all the way through.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I like them both so far.
The Sauvignon Blanc, I try to refrain from using words like favorite and things like that when I talk about our wines. But this is definitely, the Sauvignon Blanc it's one of my go-tos for sure.
Yeah. Who's your favorite child? You know you have a favorite.
Does it have to be one of mine, or?
Good answer. I love when people do tastings and they'll be like, what's your favorite wine? I mean, that's like saying when you have 19 kids, which one's your favorite kid?
Yeah. 19 kids is a lot of kids. I'm sure there's some folks out there that do, but.
So a couple of kids in my, kids in my kids' school, families. One has 10, one has 9. It's a Catholic school, obviously. 6, 4. Not many ones. There's a couple ones, but not many. That's kind of frowned upon in the Catholic faith. 1 child. 2. You need to pick it up, big guy. All right, what's number 3? We got a little Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
Nice.
Our benevolent dictator, Russian River, Pinot Noir.
Who came up with these names?
You know, all these names preceded me. I would venture to say Bob Binder came up with these names. Pinot Noir, California Pinot is our winemaker Carrie's like favorite thing on the planet.
That's
that's
good.
how it made its way into.
That's a really nice pairing. They've both, all 3 have been good. This one's really good.
Yeah, this was the surprising one for me because it's this. It's the Gator Tater Cajun Dill potato chips, and I thought, why are we even tasting this? This isn't gonna work. But lo and behold, this was kind of like, this is the one that really turned things up to 11 for us. This is like, this is awesome.
So who do you like better, Bob or Walter?
They come together.
Yeah.
It's
They're
Bob and
packaged.
Walter. It's
Okay.
like, it's those guys are the best. I probably talk to Bob more.
So you like Walter better?
No, they're both awesome.
No, that's awesome. Was it a pretty easy transition for you to come here?
It was. Bob and Walter, if you ever get a chance to meet them, and I hope you do, are just 2 of the seriously just nicest, warmest, genuine people on the planet. And
Especially twice a month. It's called payday.
And they welcomed me here, and it was really cool because we got a chance to. We were right at the beginning. We hadn't opened the doors here. We hadn't hired the team. We hadn't really started the program. So it was a really fun. It was a cool opportunity to get involved with a brand from the ground floor. So it was the transition. I didn't even think about the transition. It was like, all right, bang, let's go to work, roll up our sleeves, and let's go. So
Nice.
yeah, it was fun.
And the wines are good?
Wines are good. Yeah, wines are very solid and very likable.
Yeah. So how has your role changed? I don't want to go much into the pandemic because I don't, whatever. We're not going to talk the pandemic. We're not going to talk religion. We're sure as hell going to talk politics. No, I'm just kidding. How has your role changed? So you're the VP of Sales.
General manager.
Excuse. Okay. Well, it says VP of Sales on the website. You need to change it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm almost certain. Just say. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Just
We'll
saying.
have to check that out.
Okay. I could be wrong.
Maybe.
I'm probably wrong. So general manager. Much travel? Obviously not now with
Not
everything
now.
going on. But would you like? So what is? Okay. If someone says, "What does a general manager do for a winery?" What is that?
Well, I think, as you know, every winery is a pretty unique entity. So a general manager in one place doesn't necessarily equate to general manager responsibilities in another. For me, my role here is, most of our business comes right out of here and through our wine club. So, making sure that those channels are operating optimally and that the team here is happy and we're all getting along and we're all on task and that, one of our main goals here is to make sure that everybody walking through the doors immediately feels welcome and authentically has a great time.
So it's like Disney.
But better.
Ooh.
Better. Less rides, more wine, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You see that as a tagline. I'll let you have that one.
All right. So
better than Disney.
Yeah. So our main focus is on direct sales. So making sure that's churning and burning, and we're doing what we can to do the right thing. Also, I'm instrumental, and we have a small vineyard that we work with that we grow some cab, but the vast majority of our wines are purchased throughout the valley and through Sonoma. So. I'm instrumental in finding some of our new vineyard sources and things like that. Just there's a lot of things and a lot of layers to the industry. So
Nice.
we gotta stay flexible. And,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, we're gonna be right back with Shane. All right, we're back with Shane. We're gonna try the next two wines. Playing with Fire.
Yeah.
Sounds like my life. Playing with Fire, Luke Taylor. Let's do it. What's it paired with? Red blend.
Yeah, Playing with Fire, really fun blend that changes every year.
Okay.
And the key components of this wine are always Malbec and Cabernet Sauvignon. This particular vintage, 70% Malbec, 15% Cab, and 15% Cab Franc. I think that equals 100.
108. It's fun.
It's a big wine.
Yeah.
So yeah, really designed to be playful, delicious. It's playing with fire in a sense that the blend changes every year. Sometimes we take some more chances by throwing in a ex varietal like a Grenache or a Syrah or something that might not be that some purists would tell you shouldn't do, but we do, and the goal is to make this wine fun and delicious. And definitely a crowd pleaser here for sure. This is we probably make the most of this wine than any, and we don't allocate it directly into our wine club, but it sells out the quickest for sure.
Good pairing.
Yeah. So this is Playing with Fire with the Voodoo chip.
I like the Voodoo.
Yeah.
The Voodoo.
I like to say it's two things you shouldn't do: play with fire, or practice voodoo. But
Say you.
You have the opportunity to do both here.
You obviously don't live in Louisiana.
I don't. I love Louisiana though.
It is. Can you understand what the hell they're saying, though? You know, my favorite football coach is the LSU coach, Ed Orgeron.
Right.
He sounds like he came off the set of The Waterboy. You know what I mean? He does. I mean, he's great, though. If I was playing sports again, I would love to play for him. I think he was fantastic.
I need to look him up.
Yeah, you should. Watch look up Ed Orgeron and then watch The Waterboy.
I've seen The Waterboy.
A good family movie with your wife and kids.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's high quality H2O.
Yeah. Yes. It's high quality wine. So why does the blend change every year? Is it just something she finds, the winemaker finds the right fit and says, boom, kind of thing?
Yeah, winemakers, I think, really enjoy the freedom and creativity of blends. And so we have our foundation generally always set with, the Malbec and Cabernet. We got two great vineyard sources for that. And from year to year, it's, let's see what we can do here. Let's see what becomes available to us, and let's have some fun. And, we don't want to do anything. We don't want to do the same thing twice. So we always want to keep moving. And this blend really allows us to showcase that. Mm-hmm. Carrie loves blends. And I think she does a great job with it. So I don't know if that answered your question or not.
That was good enough. I wasn't paying attention. I was eating the potato chips, so who cares?
Voodoo.
The Voodoo.
I'm telling you.
What's your total case production?
So we're pretty small. We do about 3,500 cases annually. So pretty small.
What's the goal? Is there a goal?
A production goal?
Yeah.
I think quality of the wines will always dictate how much we can grow. I'd love to see us... if we could get to, ultimately, I think 10,000 cases would be, pretty tremendous, but that's a long road to get there, I think. I could see us inching our way up to 5,000 and then 8,000. But yeah, I don't think we would ever go any more than 10,000 cases. But like I said, I think it would take a while for us to get to 10,000. But, we're growing methodically, creating the demand, building the supply around it.
Yeah, that's good. So where all can people buy your wine other than the tasting room? Obviously online.
Online. is this past year has been a great way for many people to get the wines. But we sell wines locally here. We've got some great hotel partners and some some great restaurants, and hopefully they'll be back up and running to full capacity or close to soon. So the local restaurants and hotels, we distribute a very small amount to Florida, and we distribute a very small amount to Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison's not a state. Wisconsin's a state.
I know.
So do they sell it outside of Madison, Wisconsin? Like Milwaukee?
No, in Milwaukee.
Green Bay?
What's funny is, I won't say the names of whom or what, but we were approached by a large distributor in Wisconsin a couple years ago, and they love the wines, and they're like, you got to come to Wisconsin. So Carrie, our winemaker, is from Madison. I went to school at UW-Madison.
Did you really?
I did.
Sorry to hear that.
So there was a synergy there, a little history, and we could create a story around that. So we're like, yeah, let's go for it. So when I went out there to launch the brand, and I didn't even think about asking the question prior to, but I saw the itinerary, and it was like every place but Madison. And so I said, hey, why aren't we going to Madison? We'd really love to build the brand in Madison. We've got a real connection with the town. And they said, well, we don't service Madison. We service the entire state, but we really don't service Madison. And we work with another distributors, kind of like our sister distributor partner in Madison only, but we cover the rest of the state. So that's exactly the look I had. And so not even a year later, we transitioned from the larger distributor to this other one that focuses only on Madison, Wisconsin, because that's where we ultimately want to be. But, I love Wisconsin. It was great to be back. I hadn't been back to Wisconsin in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Boy, I love Wisconsin. It's great. Yeah. So California, mostly Northern California, a little bit in Madison, and a little bit in Florida is where you can find the wines. Yeah.
Cool. Good. What's the last one?
Cabernet Sauvignon, our 27 fathoms Cabernet Sauvignon, fruit coming from our estate up in St. Helena, and also pulling some fruit from a great vineyard, George III in Rutherford. So two fantastic vineyard sources. Really graceful Cabernet Sauvignon, really just very aromatic, very nicely balanced. Nice. Carrie does a really nice job letting that fruit be the star of the show and like weaving the tannins in there, just kind of integrated tannins that are there to support the fruit in a sense. Most of our wines, we use a lot of new French oak, but you're not tasting those woody tannins so much.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Very pleasant.
Yeah, really fun little wine. And the pairing that goes with it, so this is a potato chip chocolate brick, I guess is the best way to describe it. We took another one of Zapp's, which they call their quote-unquote regular potato chip. It's actually called the regular, but there's nothing regular about that chip. That is like if you're a chip lover, that is like the purest potato chip on the planet. Fantastic. So we brought the chips over to Kohler Chocolate, which is about a block away from us here. Great chocolatier. So they just crushed the chips and then enveloped it in 72% dark chocolate. And then you can see we've got our logo stamped on the chocolate, a little Trident.
I wasn't paying attention. I just eat the chocolate.
That's okay.
I love chocolate.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
That's cool. You got the logo on there.
Yeah.
I just ate a piece of silver Trident.
You just ate a Trident.
Thank you. I got Trident in me now.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is the lineup for our. We also do another wine. It's a reserve Cabernet. In the years that we make it, we do anywhere from 75 to 125 cases of it. Yeah, so very small production.
From the estate?
From the estate, and a little George III, but it tends to be mostly estate. Anywhere from like 3 to 4 barrels of that wine is what we'll do. Really great wine. But this is, this is a quick run through of our lineup, and the potato chip extravaganza, which it was funny, we were ready to launch this tasting last summer after things opened up, and as we were getting ready to launch it, we got shut back down to outdoors only, so we kind of got like overshadowed with that news. And then we're like, all right, during the harvest we're gonna launch it, and then the fires hit.
Yeah.
So we got overshadowed by the fires.
Don't have that in Chicago.
No, you don't have fires.
Well, you
in
did
Chicago.
have. You did actually.
The soccer team, Chicago Fire.
Well, you had the Great Chicago Fire in like 19.
Was that in the 19s
12?
or was that in the 18s?
I don't know. It wasn't
It's a
around.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicked over a lamp, apparently. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
You know the truth. That
Yeah.
wasn't that. That's not the truth.
Yeah, no.
Which one of yours is your favorite?
Well, in this pairing,
Yeah.
I love the Pinot dill chip pairing. I think it's tremendous.
I'm trying to think if I ate all the chips for that one. Oh, there's one left.
That
Obviously, I
think-
didn't have lunch.
Yeah, that is just a lot of flavor, and it's a surprising combination to me.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, and but if I was just gonna go to one wine that would be my go-to, I said a little earlier, it's got to be our Sauv Blanc.
Nice.
Very versatile wine. I've been to events where they pair this wine with smoked pork shoulder, steak tartare with little Cornichon. Talking about Sauvignon Blanc, so it's like it's a surprisingly versatile wine that could really take on a lot. And but nothing wrong with just a bucket of ice and a couple of glasses with that
Yeah,
with that Sauv Blanc.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the question that I really want to ask you: are you looking for anybody for the Silverado pickups?
Do you sing?
I can. What are you looking for in the silver? I mean, do you need like a cymbal player or like a violinist, a flutist, clarinet? I can play the alto sax.
I think ultimately, if you bring good wines with you, you're at least allowed in the doors for one of our rehearsal get-togethers.
So you're big into music.
Yeah.
How is that? So your dog is named Keith Richards.
Yeah.
Is it Sir Keith Richards or just Keith
Just
Richards?
Keith Richards. He usually goes by Keith.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then you're in a band called
Yeah.
the Silverado Pickups.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Fun band. All wine industry guys.
Really?
Yeah.
So who else is in that?
Let's see. Our bass player is Tress Getting from the winemaker at Bialy, Robert Bialy Vineyards.
Yeah, I know Bob. We had Bob on the
I saw
Cork
that.
Taylor
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, so
Good dude, great.
Tress makes wines for those guys, plays bass with us. Dan Zapponi, who plays lead guitar with us, he is the president and CEO of Cuvaison down in Carneros.
Dropping names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
Jeff Gargiulo from Gargiulo Vineyards
Yeah.
plays lead guitar with us. Great guy. We rehearse up in Oakville quite a bit
Nice.
with him. David Duncan from Silver Oak, Toomey, and Ovid. And we have our drummer, Joe Shotwell. He's the only guy that's not totally in the wine industry. He dips and dabbles in the
drinks
business.
wine.
He drinks, he plays drums quite well.
So what does he do if he's not in the really dabbled in?
He teaches drums. He does a little bit, like he helps out.
He's a professional taster.
He's a professional taster for
Yeah.
sure. His wife Beverly is she works up at Colgan, so that's close enough. And
Yeah,
we'll
that's good.
let's,
Okay, that's
you know,
good. Yeah.
So he brushes up next to Colgan, and it's like, all right, that's good enough.
I want to brush up to Colgan. Yeah, that's nice.
And then we have our keyboard player, Paul Hoffman, who is, we call it CPA to the stars in the wine industry. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's, yeah.
How did you get those collection of misfits together?
That's a good question. I think some of them were kind of already together. I've known Jeff Gargiulo for like 20 plus years, and I had moved out of the Napa Valley for a couple of years, really to focus mainly on music. So I was doing some traveling and recording and stuff. And I came back and I met Jeff at an Oakville Growers Association tasting. This is probably back in, my guess is maybe 09-ish. And he was like, hey, we got these guys together and we're just, getting together
the band back together.
Let's get the band.
Back.
And
That's
so
cool.
it's like, all right, cool. And I showed up, and when I showed up, most of the guys who are in the pickups today were there at the time, and we got a offer to play at the wine auction a couple months after that. So we're like, all right, well, let's get a set list together. Let's pick a name. And then our second gig, we opened for Tim McGraw. So that was...
What?
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. So we're like, all right, let's do this.
Really?
Yeah.
Did Faith Hill come?
Faith was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. Did she go up with him and sing a couple songs?
I think they did like 2 songs together.
Yeah.
His dad, Tug McGraw, was from Napa. I don't know if you know
Really?
this. Yeah.
Baseball player.
Yeah, pitcher. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
I think the Phillies.
Nice.
So he's got a bit of a Napa connection.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool that you got to open for him.
Yeah.
Or did you close? He opened and you closed, right? You should
No,
have said to him,
we
hey,
opened.
you know what? I would have said to him, listen, Tim, I'm going to be honest with you. We'll let you close this time, but usually we open, okay?
Yeah,
That probably wouldn't have gone too well.
Sometimes, I've seen people get, you get a good gig and, people are like, yeah, no, all of a sudden we're kind of cool. But Tim draws more people than we do, so we got to let him.
Just like this podcast. Let's be honest. So I think that's pretty good. Let's talk a little bit more in our Patreon section. Shane, thank you so much for joining the Cork and Taylor Wine Podcast. It's an honor. The potato chips were good. The chocolates were good. I'm still going to munch on the Zaps and the Route 11, so I appreciate it. Thanks for joining the Cork and Taylor Wine Podcast. Luke Taylor says thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review, and I don't know, tell anybody that actually likes wine and podcasts. Have a good one.